What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So, as I stated, every month we're going to talk a little bit about the tariff rebates. What happened to the tariff rebates? Are we going to see tariff rebates, the $2,000 stimulus that will be going out to the American people that the president was promising last year, and he's also promising in this year, and he says that it'll probably happen by the end of the year. So I want to talk about this because I just want to keep you guys up to date. What is Congress talking about? Are they talking about it? Is the president still talking about it? Could we potentially see this? So that's what I want to focus on in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video. If you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, so let's start from the beginning here. So back last year, I think it was around August time, maybe August, September, you heard the president out there talking about a $2,000 tariff rebate.
We have so much money coming in. We're thinking about a little rebate. But the big thing we want to do is pay down debt, but we're thinking about a rebate. That's a very good question. You just made a lot of news. We're thinking about a rebate because we have so much money coming in from tariffs that a little rebate for people of a certain income level might be very nice.
And so what the president wants to do is he wants to send out these $2,000 tariff rebates. So take that revenue, send it out to the American people. And so, of course, people were interested in this. Well, $2,000 coming to us, another stimulus check coming to us. This sounds great. However, there's no movement on this. Congress right now is not moving on this. They're not even talking about this. And when we're talking about tariff revenue, the whole thought all along was that tariff revenue was going to go to pay down our national debt. And so by the president pulling this out and saying, oh, no, we're going to send some to the American people, it's just not, Congress is not supporting that right now. And since the president announced this, I haven't heard one politician, one congressperson that's in leadership talking about this, talking about, yes, this would be a good idea. Because if you remember, if we go back, we can go back to the Doge dividend checks. That was another either $1,000 or $2,000 that was going to go out to the American people. They were talking about that, and guess what? Speaker Johnson came out and said, no, we're not going to do that. We can't send out this revenue. And Speaker Johnson said this money should also go to pay down our debt. And so they weren't talking about sending out dividend checks. And remember, the dividend checks, how that was going to work is they were going to find waste, fraud, and abuse, and they were going to find it in an amount of, first they started at $2 trillion, and then they revised it down to $1 trillion, and then they revised it down to like $100 billion. And then now, I don't even know where it sits. It probably sits around under $200 billion. And so there's not enough revenue there in order to send out these dividend checks. And so it looks like people lost out on that. And we still don't know how much waste, fraud, and abuse did they find because they haven't reported it yet. We don't have it. I mean, they have the Doge tracker, but a lot of the stuff in the Doge tracker doesn't align with what we're seeing. And so this information can't be confirmed. So we don't know how much money they found and they were able to save the American people. And so that's going to be an ongoing thing. I don't know if we'll ever find that out. Maybe if Democrats take back the House, they can open up an investigation and find out how much money they really saved when it came to this waste, fraud, and abuse, how much money Doge was able to save. But moving back to the tariff rebates. So you had President Trump out there saying, look, this is what we're going to do. You have Congress right now not talking about it at all. And leadership is not talking about a stimulus check for the American people. But then the latest information that we heard is we heard President Trump saying, look, we don't need Congress. I can do this. I don't know if he's thinking he can do it through executive order, or I don't know what he's thinking, but he's saying, I can go ahead and send out these tariff rebates. But guess what? He can't, because Congress, they carry the purse. They have the money.
Last July, the president, in reply to my question, said that the revenue generated by his tariffs policy would benefit taxpayers in the form of tariff rebate checks. On Wednesday, the president told me that those $2,000 checks do not need approval from Congress.
Kevin Hassett has said that those $2,000 tariff rebate checks would be up to Congress to decide whether or not to disperse that. Do you agree with Kevin Hassett on that, or do you think you can do that unilaterally?
I don't think we would have to go the Congress route, but we'll find out. The reason we're even talking about it is that we have so much money coming in from tariffs that we'll be able to issue at least a $2,000 dividend and also pay down debt for the country. But we'd do a $2,000 dividend to the people of our country. Would probably set a limit of, income limit where it made sense. But we will be able to make a very substantial dividend to the people of our country I believe we can do that without Congress.
White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett just last month said the checks will depend on what happens with Congress and that he expected the president to bring a formal proposal to Congress this year. In 2020, it was Congress that approved the stimulus checks that went out during the COVID-19 pandemic. Several Republican senators, including Senate Majority Leader John Thune, say they're opposed to tariff rebate checks, saying they would much rather see the tariff revenue go toward reducing the deficit. At the White House, I'm John Decker.
And so in order to get that money, you're going to have to go through Congress. We have balanced government, and we have it for a reason. You can't just have one person, the president, saying, I'm going to send out money here, I'm going to send out money here, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Our government doesn't function that way. We have to have Congress weigh in. And so until Congress says, yes, we're going to move forward, we have a reconciliation bill that we're going to be putting together in 2026, and we're going to include tariff rebates. Until they say that, we're not looking at any tariff rebates anytime soon. Another thing, when it comes to the tariffs, you have the Supreme Court. They're going to rule on tariffs in the coming months. And they're going to determine, does the president have power to go ahead and say, blanket across all these different countries, we're going to send out tariffs? Or can the president only do this in emergency situations? And can the president justify what he's doing now as an emergency? And we've already heard that the Supreme Court is probably going to roll back some of these tariffs. And so if they roll back some of these tariffs, that means that money that's been collected, that revenue that's being collected, is going to have to go back to those companies, the companies in the U.S., because remember, the companies in the U.S., they're paying the tariff. They'll have to send that money back. And so the federal government will have to send that money back to those companies. And that's why Costco filed a lawsuit against the government when it comes to tariffs. They're trying to get ahead of this. So when the Supreme Court rules, they can say, hey, we already have something in the court right now, and so send us our money back. And then one more thing, too, when it comes to just rebate checks. Let's say the president does have the power. Let's say the president says, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and send out these tariff rebates to the American people. Well, the revenue that they anticipate collecting this year, so I think this year and last year, they're counting both of it, it's going to be about $350 billion. In order to send out a tariff rebate check in the amount of $2,000, it's going to cost around $400 billion to $600 billion. And so what that means is the tariff revenue that they're collecting now is not going to be enough to send out these $2,000 tariff rebates. So what that means is you're going to have to borrow more money, add to our national debt in order to send out these tariff rebates. And so that's what would have to happen. And as I stated, even though the president's saying that he thinks he can do it on his own, he still needs to go through Congress. And Congress is not going to go for that. And so I want to know what you guys think about all this. Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.